Improving the teaching of a foreign language is very much based on our understanding of the process of language learning. And a good background for such an understanding can be the successful language learner. Some people learn languages very quickly. They are said to have the ear for languages. Others spend a long time trying to learn a language without good progress. Children also differ greatly in first language acquisition. Some start talking at 9 months, others don't say a word by 2. The question that poses itself here is, what are the characteristics that characterize the good language learner? There hasn't been an abundance of research on identifying characteristics, strategies, and techniques of successful language learners through actual observation or interview. Rubin, 1975, Stern, 1975, Wesche, 1975, Nyman et al., 1995. Among cognitive characteristics, language learning aptitude was studied by Carroll in the 50s. The result was the following: 2 aptitude tests, one for adults, the modern language. Aptitude test, Carroll and Sapin, 1959, and the other to children, the elementary modern language aptitude test, Carroll and Sapin, 1967, and a similar test at high school level by Pimsleur, the language aptitude battery. Nyman et al., 1995, identified several principal concepts of language learning: context, learner, intelligence, language aptitude, past experience, age, sex, personality, motivation, attitude, cognitive characteristics. L2 teaching, L2 environment, learning, unconscious processes, conscious strategies and techniques, affective component, and outcome. Most of the above-listed concepts were studied by researchers, but no research was conclusive. The student's sex, Burstall et al., 1974, age, Krashen et al., 1979, and language aptitude, Carroll and Sapin, 1967. The factors of attitude and motivation have been investigated more thoroughly. Gardner and Lambert, 1972, reported that these 2 factors have a great influence on second language acquisition. The following part sheds some light on some important factors in second language learning. During the past 40 years, there have been important shifts in how language educators have viewed context. The enduring issue has been the search for settings which could best promote language and culture learning. The central questions have been around the classroom as a learning setting as opposed to the field, i.e., real-world settings, where the target language and culture are used. In the 1960s, many researchers and language educators believed that an understanding of context was crucial to language study. Thus, a lot of support was generated for experience-based learning, such as study abroad programs and culture simulations in the classroom. The 1970s witnessed a shift toward cognitively focused instruction, with much less attention given to the role of context and experience in the learning process. Edwards and Rohorek, 1990. From the 1980s up to the present time, much attention has been directed to context by language educators. Immersion schools, for example, represent an attempt to contextualize the learning environment. Mouse and Trickett, 1987, Edwards and Rehorick, 1990. Study abroad programs, which have grown in popularity, constitute efforts to locate the language learner in the actual cultural context. Now, let's start the story. My name is Charlie. I am from a small town where everyone speaks the same language. I've wanted to learn English since I was a child. I used to see tourists in our town and wanted to talk to them about their experiences. I imagined myself traveling to different countries, meeting new people from all over the world, and reading books in English. The prospect of being able to communicate in another language intrigued me. When I decided to start learning English, I felt both excited and nervous. It was like opening the door to a whole new world of possibilities. But at the same time, I was concerned about making mistakes and failing to understand or be understood. I knew that learning a new language would be difficult, but I was prepared to embark on this adventure. I registered for an English class at a local community center. On the first day of class, I met other students who were equally eager to learn. We introduced ourselves, and I felt better knowing I wasn't alone. Our teacher, Ms. Leo, was very nice and encouraging. She told us that making mistakes is okay because it is how we learn. Her words made me feel more confident and prepared to begin my English learning journey. Chapter 1. The Beginning. My first step was to learn how to say hello. It appeared simple, just a small word that rolled off the tongue, but it marked the beginning of something big. When I said it for the first time in class, my voice trembled slightly, but those 2 syllables conveyed a sense of accomplishment. Hello opened the door to a new world. From that point forward, I felt like I'd taken the first step on a long and exciting journey. Ms. Leo, our teacher, introduced us to additional basic phrases. The next question was how you were doing. It felt more difficult because it required a response, but it also provided an opportunity to connect with others. I practiced saying it with my classmates, exchanging, "How are you?" "I am fine," and "Thank you." At first, the words felt robotic, but as we repeated them, they became more natural. We also learned to say, "Thank you," which has become one of my favorite phrases. It's a very simple way to express gratitude, and I liked how polite it sounded. These simple phrases were like building blocks. Each was a new addition to my growing English communication skills. I began to realize that these simple phrases were more than just words. They were tools for connecting with others. Sometimes I made mistakes. I recall once in class getting confused between "how are you" and "who are you." I asked Isabella, "Who are you?" and we both burst into laughter. Even though it was a mistake, it became a source of joy and connection. Isabella and I laughed about it for days, and it reminded me that making mistakes was part of the learning process. It was not something to be afraid of, but rather to embrace. Each mistake taught me something, and each lesson helped me get closer to my goal. Outside of class, I practiced these phrases as much as possible. Even though my family did not speak English, I would greet them with "hello" and "how are you?" My younger brother found it amusing and began greeting me in English, making it a fun game. My parents were supportive, even though they didn't understand what I was saying. They smiled and nodded, encouraging me to continue practicing. At the local market, I tried out my new phrases with the vendors. When I first said hello to the fruit seller, he appeared surprised, but smiled warmly. He didn't speak English, but he replied with a friendly nod. It felt good to apply what I'd learned in the real world, and each successful interaction increased my confidence. In the evenings, I'd sit down with my English workbook and write the phrases over and over. I filled pages with hello, how are you, and thank you, perfecting my handwriting and committing the words to memory. I also began listening to English songs and paying close attention to their lyrics. I discovered that many songs contained simple phrases, and singing along helped me improve my pronunciation. Ms. Leo gradually introduced us to new phrases over the course of several weeks. Good morning, good night, please, and you're welcome became part of my expanding vocabulary. Each new phrase was like a piece of a puzzle, gradually revealing the larger picture of the English language. I practiced with Isabella, and we had brief conversations using only the phrases we'd learned. It was like building a conversation one phrase at a time. Ms. Leo once gave us a fun assignment. She asked us to write a short dialogue with the phrases we had learned. Isabella and I collaborated and wrote a simple conversation. Hello, Isabella. Hello, Lily. How are you? I am fine, thank you. Are you? I am fine. Thank you, and good night. Good night, Isabella. We performed our dialogue in front of the class, and it felt like a short play. Everyone applauded, and Ms. Leo praised our efforts. It was a simple conversation, but it felt like a significant achievement. We communicated in English, even if it was just a basic exchange. As I continued to practice, I noticed that my confidence was increasing. The fear I felt at the start began to fade. I no longer felt afraid to make mistakes or speak up in class. Each new phrase I learned was a step forward, and every mistake was part of the process. I started looking into new ways to practice English. I found a language exchange partner online who was interested in learning my native language. We decided to meet virtually once a week. During our sessions, we would speak half in English and half in my native language. It was an excellent way to practice, and I met a new friend in the process. My language partner was patient and kind, and we had many laughs during our conversations. One of my favorite ways to practice was to watch English language children's shows. The simple language and clear pronunciation made it simple to follow, and the colorful animations kept me entertained. I began with toddler-friendly shows and progressed to programs for older children. It was amazing how much I could grasp and learn simply by watching and listening. Ms. Leo encouraged us to keep a journal in English. She explained that it didn't matter if we made mistakes as long as we practiced writing. I began writing short entries about my day. Initially, my sentences were very basic. Today is Monday. I go to school. I'm learning English. But as I practiced, my sentences grew more complex. I began writing about my feelings and experiences, and it turned out to be a fun way to express myself. I wrote, "Today I went to the park." It was sunny. I met a dog. The dog is brown. I am happy. When I showed Ms. Leo my journal, she smiled and corrected a few minor errors. Overall, she was pleased with my progress. It felt good to put my ideas on paper in a new language. My family also noticed my improvement. My brother, who had initially found my English amusing, began asking me to teach him new words. We made it a game in which I would say an English word, and he would try to guess what it meant. It was a fun way to practice, and it helped us get closer. As the months passed, my vocabulary expanded. I learned to ask questions like, "What are your names?" and "Where are you from?" These questions opened up new avenues for discussion. I practiced with Isabella and my language exchange partner, asking and answering questions until it became natural. Ms. Leo taught us simple grammar rules. We learned the structure of sentences and how to use basic verbs. It felt like learning the rules of a game. I felt more confident playing the game once I understood the rules. I began to form more complex sentences and understand how words work together. One memorable experience was having my first full conversation in English with a tourist. A couple from England was visiting our town and stopped by the market where I was shopping with my family. They appeared lost, so I gathered my courage and approached them. "Hello," I said as my heart raced. "How are you?" They smiled warmly. "We're fine, thank you. How are you?" "I'm fine, thank you. Can I help you?" They appeared relieved and asked for directions to a nearby attraction. I did my best to explain with simple words and gestures. They thanked me and went on their way. It was a brief interaction, but it felt like a major accomplishment. I had used my English to help someone, and it felt fantastic. Reflecting on my journey, I realized how far I'd come since those first nervous steps. The simple phrase, "hello," had marked the start of a wonderful adventure. I had learned a lot and met new people along the way. Each new word and phrase improved my ability to communicate and interact with others. Learning English had become part of my daily routine. It was no longer just a subject I learned in class. It was a skill I applied in real-world situations. I was proud of my progress and excited about the future. There was still so much to learn, but I was confident that I had the tools and determination to persevere. My journey from hello to more complex conversations taught me that learning a language involves more than just memorizing words. It's about connecting with others, accepting mistakes, and celebrating minor victories. It's about providing access to new opportunities and experiences. As I continued to learn English, I knew that each new word and phrase would help me get closer to mastery. It was a journey that required both patience and perseverance. However, it was also full of joy and discovery. And with each step, I felt more confident and capable, ready to take on new challenges and opportunities. Chapter 2: Learning with Friends. I met Isabella on my first day of English class. She sat at the desk next to mine, looking as nervous and excited as I was. During class, we were required to introduce ourselves to the person sitting next to us. When it was our turn, Isabella and I exchanged a shy smile. "Hello, my name is Lily," I said, carefully pronouncing each word. "Good day, Lily. My name is Isabella," she responded. We both laughed, relieved to have finished our first English conversation. We quickly became friends after that. Isabella and I decided to study together outside of the classroom. We agreed to help each other learn and practice as much as possible. Isabella and I would meet every afternoon after school at a nearby park or one of our homes. We began with the basics, practicing greetings and simple phrases. "How are you?" "I am fine, thank you." "What is your name?" "My name is Lily." These sentences became the foundation of our study sessions. We quickly realized that learning with a friend made the process much more enjoyable, so we devised creative ways to practice. One of our favorite activities was playing language games, in which we would make flashcards with various words and phrases and test each other. We also played a game in which we had to describe something without using its name, and the other person had to guess what it was. It was a fun challenge that helped us expand our vocabulary. Another game we enjoyed was English charades, in which we would act out various actions or emotions, and the other person had to guess what we were doing. This game was not only entertaining, but it also helped us learn new verbs and expressions. We laughed a lot during these games, which made learning feel less like a chore and more like an adventure. We also practiced basic conversations. We would pretend to be in different situations, such as at a store or a restaurant, with one of us playing the customer and the other the cashier or waiter. These role-playing exercises helped us get used to using English in everyday contexts. We learned phrases like, "How much does this cost?" and "I'd like to order a pizza, please." And the more we practiced, the more natural the conversations became. Isabella and I frequently helped each other with our homework. If one of us didn't understand something, the other would explain it, allowing us to strengthen our own understanding while also assisting our friend. We also shared resources such as books, apps, and websites that we found helpful. It was comforting to know that I had a friend who was going through the same challenges and joys of learning a new language. We would sometimes watch English videos together and discuss what we had learned. One memorable study session was when we decided to bake cookies together using an English recipe. We read the instructions aloud, step by step, and tried to follow them. "Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit," I read, slightly unsure of the pronunciation. Isabella nodded, and we set the temperature. We used our English skills in a fun and practical way, measuring and mixing the ingredients and laughing at our attempts to understand words like teaspoon and cup. The cookies were delicious, and we were proud of our accomplishment. As we continued our study sessions, I noticed that both Isabella and I were becoming more confident in our speaking abilities. Our initial nervousness was gradually replaced by excitement, and we began to challenge each other with more complex sentences and questions. "What did you do yesterday?" "I went to the market and bought some fruit." Our conversations were becoming more fluid and natural, and Isabella and I were emotionally supporting each other. When one of us felt frustrated or discouraged, The other would offer words of encouragement. When I struggled with a new word, Isabella would say, "Don't worry, Anna, you're doing great," and I would reciprocate for her. One day, Ms. Leo announced that we would have a small quiz in class. Knowing that we weren't alone on this journey made a big difference. We celebrated each other's accomplishments and helped each other through the difficult times. Isabella and I decided to prepare together, reviewing all of the phrases and vocabulary we had learned, quizzing each other and practicing until we felt confident. We both performed well on the day of the quiz. It felt like a shared victory, and we celebrated with ice cream after class. Studying with Isabella taught me the value of having a study partner, which made the process less intimidating and more enjoyable. We turned learning into a series of fun activities, games, and challenges, and we pushed each other to improve while providing constant support. Our friendship grew stronger as we navigated the ups and downs of learning a new language together. In addition to our study sessions, Isabella and I began to use English more in our daily conversations, greeting each other in English when we met, asking about each other's days, and even attempting to tell jokes. It was difficult at first, but it helped us become more comfortable with the language. We even made a rule that we would only speak English for the first half hour of our meetings, and this immersion technique really helped improve our fluency. We would also have English days, where we would spend the entire day trying to use as much English as possible. We would visit places where we could interact with tourists, such as the local museum or the market, which gave us real-life experience and boosted our confidence. At one point, we even gave directions to 2 lost tourists. It felt great to use our English skills to help others, and as we progressed, we realized that learning a language is more than just memorizing words and phrases. It's about communication and connection. Our friendship grew stronger as we shared this learning experience. We laughed together, supported one another, and celebrated our accomplishments. Isabella became more than just a study partner. Looking back, I am grateful for the support and companionship that Isabella provided. Learning English was a difficult journey, but having a friend to share it with made a huge difference. We proved that with determination, creativity, and a little help from a friend, we could achieve our goals. As our English skills improved, Isabella and I began to assist other classmates who were having difficulty. We formed a small study group and invited a few more friends to join us. Our group grew into a supportive community where we shared resources, practiced together, and encouraged one another. We realized that learning is more effective and enjoyable when done together. In our study group, we began to set goals and challenges for ourselves. Each week, we would choose a new topic, such as shopping or travel, and learn related vocabulary and phrases before creating skits and performing them for the group. Isabella and I found that reading simple English stories together, taking turns reading aloud, not only helped us practice speaking, but also made learning more interactive and enjoyable. We had a great time immersing ourselves in the language by discussing the stories, asking each other questions, and even acting out scenes. This helped us improve our pronunciation and comprehension skills. One day, Ms. Leo assigned us a special project: write a short story in English. Isabella and I decided to work together on the project, brainstorming ideas, creating characters, and writing a simple but engaging story about two friends on an adventure. We practiced writing sentences, checking grammar, and making sure our story made sense. When we presented our story to the class, it was a proud moment for both of us. These experiences taught me that language is a bridge that connects people. It's not just about learning words, it's about understanding cultures, sharing experiences, and making friends. Isabella and I helped each other grow not only as English learners, but also as people. Our journey together made the process of learning English a memorable and enjoyable experience. And as I continue my journey to mastery of English, I carry with me the lessons I learned with Isabella, knowing that with determination, creativity, and the support of friends, I can achieve my goals. Every day, I practiced English. Learning with friends made the journey easier, more enjoyable, and extremely rewarding. It serves as a reminder that we can overcome challenges and celebrate our successes together. I tried to incorporate English into my daily routines from the moment I awoke until I went to bed. It was difficult at first, but I knew that consistent practice was the key to mastering the language. One of my favorite ways to practice was by listening to English songs. I discovered that music made learning more enjoyable and helped me remember words and phrases. I began with simple songs from children's shows that used clear and repetitive language, and as I became more comfortable, I progressed to pop songs. I would carefully listen to the lyrics, look up the meaning of any words I didn't understand, and sing along to help improve my pronunciation and rhythm. Another effective method was to watch English language children's shows. I began watching shows for toddlers, where the language was very basic, and the characters would say things like, "Hello, my name is, I am happy," and "Look at this." As I grew more confident, I started watching shows for older children. One of my favorite shows featured a small blue dog and her family. The characters spoke slowly and in everyday language, which was ideal for practice. I'd watch an episode and then try to tell the story to Isabella in English. This exercise allowed me to practice speaking and reinforced what I'd learned. I also tried to speak English whenever I went shopping or met new people. At the market, I would say hello to vendors and ask questions like, "How much is this?" Even though many of them did not speak English, they appreciated my efforts and attempted to assist me. I recall one time when I was buying apples. I asked the vendor how much the apples were. He smiled and responded in broken English, $2 for 1 kilogram. These small interactions gave me confidence and made English feel like a natural part of my life. Another method I used was to think in English. Whenever I did something, I would explain it to myself in English. If I were brushing my teeth, I would think, "I am brushing my teeth." If I were cooking, I'd think I'm making dinner. This habit helped me improve my sentence formation and quick thinking skills in English. I also started a journal in English. Every evening I wrote a few sentences about my day. At first, my entries were very simple, such as, "Today I went to school, learned English, and played with my friends." As I learned new vocabulary and grammar, the complexity of my sentences increased. Writing in my journal allowed me to practice spelling and sentence structure. It was an excellent way to reflect on my day and monitor my progress. My family was extremely supportive of my efforts. Even though they couldn't speak English, they encouraged me to practice. My younger brother often asked me to teach him new words. It became an enjoyable game for us. I would say a word in English, and he would attempt to guess its meaning. We laughed a lot, which made learning more enjoyable for both of us. I also discovered that reading simple English books was an excellent way to practice. I began with picture books intended for young children. The colorful illustrations helped me understand the story, and the short sentences made it simple to follow along. As my reading skills improved, I progressed to books with more text and fewer images. Reading allowed me to expand my vocabulary and improve my comprehension skills. My English teacher, Ms. Leo, encouraged us to label things in our house with their English names. I took this advice to heart and labeled almost everything: door, window, table, chair, refrigerator, etc. Seeing these labels every day helped me improve my vocabulary. Whenever I used these items, I would say their names in English, either aloud or mentally. It was a constant reminder and a useful way to learn. Another daily practice was using English to express my thoughts. Whenever I had a free moment, I would consider what I was doing or intended to do in English. For example, if I were walking to the store, I would think, "I'm going to the store. I need to purchase milk and bread." This mental exercise helped me improve my sentence formation and thinking skills in English. I also found language learning apps to be very useful. These apps included interactive exercises, quizzes, and games to make learning fun. I could practice vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation at any time and from any location. It was like having a private tutor in my pocket. I set aside a few minutes each day to use these apps, and it greatly improved my learning. Speaking practice was one of the most effective methods I used. I joined an online language exchange community where I could communicate with native English speakers who were interested in learning my native language. We would have video calls, with half of the time spent speaking in English and the other half in my native language. This real-time practice proved invaluable. It helped me adapt to different accents and improve my listening and speaking abilities. Practicing English every day wasn't always simple. There were times when I felt exhausted or frustrated. When I struggled with new words or grammar rules, I reminded myself of my goals and progress. I kept moving forward, knowing that every small step brought me closer to mastery. My efforts paid off. I gradually noticed significant improvements. Listening to English songs and watching shows helped me understand more. My conversations at the market became easier. I could write more detailed entries in my journal. I felt more comfortable talking to my language exchange partner and participating in class discussions. English became a part of my daily routine. It was no longer just a subject I learned in school. It was a skill I used on a daily basis. Whether I was listening to music, watching television, shopping, or chatting with friends, English was always present. Continuous practice made it second nature. Reflecting on my journey, I realized that consistency was the key to my progress. By incorporating English into my daily routines, I established an immersive learning environment. Every song, show, conversation, and thought in English was a step toward proficiency. It wasn't always easy, but it was worthwhile. My daily practice not only improved my language skills, but also deepened my appreciation for the learning process. It taught me patience, perseverance, and the value of small but consistent efforts. Each day, I learned something new and gained a little more confidence. As I continue my quest to master English, I carry with me the lessons I've learned through daily practice. I am confident that with dedication and consistency, I will be able to achieve my goals. English has become a part of my life, and I am excited to see where it will lead me. Chapter 4: Overcoming Obstacles. Learning English was not always easy. There were numerous occasions when I made mistakes and became frustrated. The initial excitement of learning new words and phrases was frequently replaced by a realization of the difficulties. Pronunciation was difficult, grammar rules were unclear, and I couldn't always find the right words to express myself. Despite these challenges, I refused to give up. One of the most difficult challenges I faced was understanding and applying proper grammar. There are numerous rules and exceptions to English grammar, and it is easy to become confused. For example, I frequently struggled with verb tenses. I'd mix up I went with I go or I'm going. It was frustrating because even though I knew the rules, I struggled to apply them correctly in conversation. Another challenge was pronunciation. English contains many sounds that do not exist in my native language. Words that appear simple on paper can be extremely difficult to pronounce correctly. I recall struggling with words like though, through, and thought. They appeared similar but sounded very different. My mispronunciations occasionally resulted in amusing misunderstandings, but they also made me feel self-conscious when speaking. Despite these challenges, I knew that perseverance was essential. I decided to ask my teacher, Ms. Leo, for assistance. She was always patient and willing to explain things repeatedly. I approached her after class one day and explained my grammar difficulties. She smiled and reassured me that making mistakes is a normal part of the learning process. Ms. Leo provided extra exercises to help me practice verb tenses and other grammar rules. She also recommended grammar books and websites with clear explanations and plenty of practice exercises. I spent extra time every day working on these exercises. It was hard work, but I started to see results. The more I practiced, the more the rules seemed to make sense. Ms. Leo suggested that I listen to English as much as possible and mimic native speakers to improve my pronunciation. She introduced me to phonetic exercises centered on difficult sounds. I also discovered online resources, such as videos and apps, that offered pronunciation tips and practice. One app let me record my voice and compare it to a native speaker's pronunciation. This was extremely useful because it showed me exactly where I needed to improve. I also used language learning apps to supplement my studies. These apps included interactive exercises, quizzes, and games to make learning fun. They provided immediate feedback, allowing me to understand and learn from my mistakes. I dedicated time every day to using these apps, and it made a significant difference in my learning. Despite my best efforts, I occasionally felt overwhelmed. Learning a new language takes time and effort, and progress can be slow at times. There were days when I wanted to give up. However, during these times, I reminded myself of my goals and why I wanted to learn English. I reflected on the places I wanted to visit, the friends I wanted to make, and the books I wanted to read. These thoughts kept me motivated. One day, after a particularly difficult class, I was extremely discouraged. I felt embarrassed after stumbling over my words during a conversation exercise. Ms. Leo noticed my frustration and invited me to stay after class. She sat with me and told me about her own struggles with learning a foreign language. She explained that everyone makes mistakes, and the most important thing is to keep trying. Her words inspired me to be more determined. My hard work began to pay off. I noticed that I was making fewer mistakes on my grammar exercises. My pronunciation improved, and I gained confidence speaking in class. Listening to English songs and watching shows helped me understand more. These small victories boosted my confidence and motivated me to keep going. One memorable experience was receiving my first positive feedback on a speaking assignment. We had to give a short presentation in English, and I chose to discuss my favorite hobby, cooking. I practiced for days, honing my pronunciation and ensuring I used proper grammar. Ms. Leo smiled as I finished my presentation, saying, "Well done, Lily. Your English has improved significantly." Hearing those words made all of the hard work worthwhile. Another significant accomplishment was having my first fluent conversation with a native English speaker. It occurred during a family vacation to a nearby tourist destination. I encountered an English-speaking tourist who was looking for directions. I was able to understand his questions and give him clear directions. We even talked for a few minutes about the surrounding area. It was a brief conversation, but it felt like a tremendous accomplishment. I realized that my efforts were paying off, and I was improving my English. My journey was not without setbacks, but each one helped me grow stronger and more determined. I learned to accept my mistakes as learning opportunities. I realized that perseverance and a positive attitude were essential for overcoming obstacles. I also learned the value of seeking help and utilizing available resources. Throughout this process, I realized that learning a language is more than just memorizing words and rules. It requires practice, patience, and perseverance. It's about getting past the frustration and celebrating any progress, no matter how small. I also learned the importance of setting small, manageable goals. Every time I accomplished a goal, it inspired me to keep going. Looking back, I'm proud of how far I've come. The challenges I faced were significant, as were the rewards. My ability to communicate in English led to new opportunities and experiences. It enabled me to interact with people from various cultures and backgrounds. It boosted my confidence and sense of accomplishment. As I continue my journey to master English, I am aware that there will be additional challenges to overcome, but I am prepared to face them with determination and a positive attitude. I am grateful to my teacher, friends, and family who have encouraged me along the way. Their belief in me inspired me to believe in myself. Learning English was challenging, but it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. It taught me about resilience, perseverance, and the value of hard work. It demonstrated that with dedication and the right support, I could achieve my objectives. My journey is far from over, but I am excited about what lies ahead, including new challenges and opportunities. Chapter 5: Achieving Milestones. I celebrated each small victory along my English learning journey. Each small success represented a significant step forward and kept me motivated. These milestones demonstrated that my hard work and perseverance were paying off. One of my first significant accomplishments was ordering food in English for the first time. I recall that day vividly. Isabella and I had decided to visit a tourist-friendly local cafe. We had practiced our order in English beforehand, but I still felt nervous. When it was my turn, I took a deep breath and requested a cup of coffee and a sandwich. The cashier clearly understood me and responded in English. I experienced a surge of pride and relief. This small accomplishment boosted my confidence significantly. Making new friends who spoke English was another significant milestone. During our study group sessions, Isabella and I met several other students who were also studying English. We began spending more time together and practicing our language skills through conversation. We would discuss our hobbies, favorite books, and future goals. These conversations helped me become more fluent and comfortable speaking English. One day, our study group decided to hold an English-only picnic. The rule stated that we could only speak English for the entire afternoon. It was difficult at first, and there were awkward silences as we tried to find the right words. However, as the day progressed, we began to relax and enjoy ourselves. We talked about everything, from our favorite foods to our future goals. By the end of the day, I'd realized how much my speaking abilities had improved. It was wonderful to have a full day of meaningful conversations in English. Another memorable achievement was successfully finishing my first English book. It was a simple children's book, but finishing it made me feel incredibly accomplished. I understood the story and even discussed it with Isabella. We discussed the characters, the plot, and our favorite aspects of the book. This experience demonstrated that I was making significant progress with my reading and comprehension skills. Participating in class activities was also a source of pride. Ms. Leo frequently organized group discussions and presentations. I was initially hesitant to speak up for fear of making a mistake. However, with each passing week, my confidence grew. One day, Ms. Leo asked us to give a brief presentation about our vacation. I chose to discuss my family's New Year celebrations. I practiced diligently, and when it came time to speak, I did so clearly and confidently. My classmates and Ms. Leo applauded my efforts, which made me extremely proud. My improved English skills have also benefited me in my life. Listening to English songs and watching shows helped me understand more. I could follow the plot and enjoy the humor. One day, while watching a popular English television show, I realized I could understand almost everything without using subtitles. This was a significant milestone for me. It made me feel closer to the language and culture. One of the most significant milestones occurred when I assisted a tourist with directions. As I was walking home from school, a lost tourist approached me. He asked for directions to a nearby museum. I was able to understand his question and give clear instructions in English. The tourist thanked me. This is written in English. The tourist thanked me, and we briefly discussed the city. This interaction boosted my confidence and helped me realize how practical and useful my English skills were. Another proud moment came when I completed my first full essay in English. Ms. Leo had assigned us to write about our dream jobs. I decided to write about becoming a teacher. I spent a long time writing and revising my essay, making sure to use proper grammar and vocabulary. When I received my graded essay, I was ecstatic to see positive feedback and a good grade. This milestone demonstrated that my writing abilities were improving, and it encouraged me to continue working hard. As I reached these milestones, my confidence grew with each conversation and experience. I was no longer as nervous speaking in English. Instead, I came to enjoy it. I looked forward to opportunities to practice my English, whether it was chatting with friends, participating in class, or assisting someone in need. Reflecting on my journey, I realized that every milestone, no matter how small, was an important part of my development. Ordering food in English, making new friends, finishing my first book, and delivering presentations were all steps toward fluency. These achievements were more than just learning a language. They were about gaining confidence, making connections, and exploring new opportunities. Learning English evolved from a daunting task to an exciting adventure. I realized that with each milestone, I was not only improving my language skills, but also deepening my understanding of myself and the world around me. My journey was full of pride and joy, and I learned to appreciate every step forward. As I continue on my journey to master English, I hope to reach new milestones. Each one is a reflection of my hard work and determination. I am grateful to my friends, teachers, and family who have encouraged me along the way. Their belief in me has encouraged me to believe in myself. Achieving these milestones has taught me that anything is possible with hard work and perseverance. I'm looking forward to the future and all of the new challenges and opportunities it brings. My journey is far from over, but I am confident that I will continue to improve and succeed. Chapter 6. Reflecting on the Journey. Looking back, I realize how much I've learned. When I first began, I could barely say hello. I can now hold full conversations in English, understand complex concepts, and express myself clearly. My journey has been filled with challenges, but each one has made me stronger and more determined. I recall the excitement and nervousness of my first English class, the difficulties with grammar and pronunciation, and the minor victories that kept me motivated. Every step, no matter how small, helped me make progress. Every effort I made, from learning basic phrases to engaging in detailed conversations, contributed to my overall goal. I am proud of my progress. It's incredible to see how far I've progressed. I was once afraid of making mistakes, but now I see them as opportunities to learn. Each mistake taught me something new and pushed me closer to fluency. My confidence has grown with every English conversation and interaction. One of the most rewarding aspects of my journey has been the relationships I've formed. I've met some wonderful people, both native speakers and fellow learners, who have helped and encouraged me. These friendships have enriched and made learning more enjoyable. Sharing our struggles and successes fostered a sense of community and belonging. Reflecting on my journey, I realized that learning English has not only improved my language skills, but it has also transformed me as a person. It taught me patience, perseverance, and the importance of hard work. I learned that consistency and dedication are essential for achieving any goal. Every milestone, from ordering food to writing essays, demonstrated my hard work and determination. My journey demonstrates that anyone can learn English with effort and patience. It is not about being perfect. It is about making progress. It's about celebrating small victories while learning from setbacks. It's about believing in yourself and staying focused on your goals. I am grateful to my teachers, friends, and family for believing in and encouraging me throughout the process. Their assistance made a significant difference in my educational experience. They reminded me that I was not alone on this journey, and that my efforts were valued and acknowledged. As I continue to learn and grow, I am optimistic about the future. I am confident in my ability to overcome future challenges. My journey has taught me that with determination and the right support, I can accomplish anything I set my mind to. Learning English provided me with new opportunities and experiences. It has broadened my horizons and enabled me to interact with people from various cultures and backgrounds. It has given me the confidence to pursue my dreams and goals. I hope my story inspires others who are learning English or a new skill. Remember that every journey starts with one step. Celebrate your accomplishments no matter how small and keep moving forward. Believe in your own abilities and potential for success. You can achieve your goals through hard work, patience, and perseverance. My journey is not over, but I am proud of what I have accomplished thus far. I'm looking forward to continuing to learn and reaching new milestones. The future is full of possibilities, and I'm excited to see where this journey takes me. Learning English has been an incredible journey. It's been a journey full of both challenges and triumphs, each teaching me valuable lessons. This experience taught me the value of perseverance and practice. Every effort, no matter how small, has helped me grow and improve. Throughout this journey, I've realized that learning a language involves more than just memorizing words and rules. It's about immersing yourself in the language, viewing mistakes as learning opportunities, and celebrating each accomplishment. The progress I've made from saying hello to having full conversations in English demonstrates the value of consistent effort and dedication. I know I'll continue to learn and grow. Learning is a lifelong process, and there is always something new to discover. I'm excited to continue building on the foundation I have laid and to achieve even greater levels of fluency and comprehension. To all beginners, remember that each step you take brings you closer to mastery. It may be difficult at times, with seemingly insurmountable obstacles. But keep going. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may appear. Each word you learn, each conversation you have, moves you closer to your goal. Never give up. Persevere despite the difficulties and practice regularly. Surround yourself with supportive people who will inspire and motivate you. Make use of all the resources available to you, including books, apps, songs, and shows. Immerse yourself in the language and make it a part of your daily routine. My journey demonstrates that anyone can learn English with effort and patience. Believe in your own abilities and potential for success. You can achieve your goals with dedication and persistence. Keep going, and you'll achieve mastery. Learning English provided me with not only a new skill, but also a sense of accomplishment and confidence. It has provided access to new opportunities and connections. I am thankful for this journey and look forward to continuing it. To everyone on their own language learning journey, keep going, stay committed, and never give up. The benefits of your hard work are invaluable,